you're a NEET, okay, like I kind of respect you a little bit, right? Because you're like, okay, well, actually no, I have a few thoughts on NEETs, okay? Like if you're a NEET, like I think it's really cool on one hand because you're spending your life doing something that you want to do, right? If you're a NEET, chances are you're probably looking at anime. Chances are you're probably reading Wikipedia pages or reading books or like trying to get knowledge and like trying to like make sense of the world around you. And like chances are that you've probably been disenfranchised by society and you've become afraid because you probably had some kind of like really difficult point in your life where you couldn't like assert yourself or you couldn't like step forward and actually do something that you wanted to do, so you just sort of resigned yourself. And that's where the negatives start to come in. The positives are that you're seeking knowledge when you're in NEET and like you're trying to do something. You're watching videos, you're trying to get a skill, like you're trying to make sense of the world around you. You're engaging with the world on like an intellectual level when you're in NEET. But I feel like when you're and that is like, here's the thing too, right? Like, not in employment, education, or training, like, yeah, like traditional education, like it just doesn't work for some people, and I feel like NEETs are also a part of that category. Like it just, these people, like, they have a drive to do something, like they have like a will to do something, right? Something in their life. But like the negatives start to come in where like, because they're so intellectual with their engagement with the world, they start to like lose touch with reality. Like they start to they start to just completely live in a kind of like suspended state in life, because everything that they've worked toward in the past when they weren't a NEET has amounted to nothing. And now they're just simply like, they're simply overwhelmed and live in fear, and therefore live in a state of suspension where they're living in this kind of like limbo zone where they're like gathering knowledge and like, but they're not really doing anything with it. And I think that's pretty sad. I think NEETs, they're like a pretty like, they have untapped potential. I think NEETs, like if you actually, I feel like if you gave them, if you like gave them confidence, if they like took the initiative and like they actually like they actually like start like, if they actually start like taking a risk and like going outside of their comfort zone and doing things they normally wouldn't want to do and thinking in ways they normally wouldn't think and interacting with people and doing all these things, I feel like then at that point, and hopefully that's what this guy is doing, but I highly doubt it, because he's an entirely different case. I don't think he's like he doesn't have like the heart and soul of a NEET or whatever, right? Like if they start doing that, I think like they will be massively successful. I think like these people, like if they actually started doing that and applying their knowledge, I feel like these people, they would like make some like super like important contributions that like we have yet to see. It's just really sad. It's really sad that like they've chosen to resign. It's really sad that they've chosen to resign, because at the end of the day, even though like there are circumstances that sort of made that path easier for them to take, they still ultimately had the choice to choose to be a NEET or to not be a NEET, and they chose to be a NEET. Like your goal should be to not be a NEET. There are good things, like there are good things within being a NEET, but that is not like good in and of itself, right? It's like when Peterson says like,
it's like cynicism is a virtue compared to naivety, but it's not virtuous in and of itself. It's a step on the way.
Being cynical is preferable to being naive, but it's not a good thing in and of itself. It's not virtuous in and of itself. Like that's like the same thing here. Like being a NEET has good things, it's just not good itself. I think being a NEET is probably a path to greatness. It's just not the path. Those are my thoughts.
It starts out, I think, the way he framed it was, it starts out as being naive, which is the worst thing you could be. And then, like, being cynical is an upgrade to being naive, but it's still not good. Yeah. It's just better than naivete. And then, like, from that, you eventually get to the point where you, like, attain some type of wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, yeah, so, like, ultimately, I think NEETdom, like that is a step above I honestly think, this is my honest opinion here, I think that NEETdom is a step above, like, watching TV and, like, doing the things that you're told to do and, like, just sort of accepting what you're given, right? I think that's, like, a step. NEETdom is a step above, like, conformity, doing what you're told to do and watching TV, and, like, that's what you do all day. Like, that is definitely 100 million% a step above those kinds of people. But yeah, it's not that much better, right? It's not that much better. And I think the ultimate goal, like, after NEETdom, is you sort of have a mix between, like, obtaining knowledge and being a bit, like, reclusive and, like, honing in on your skill, while also, like after you do that, after you're, you know, gaining skills and learning new things, you actually go out and apply it. I think that's, like, a step above NEETdom, is, like, applied. Sure, it's applied philosophy. Sure, a step above NEETdom is applied philosophy. There you go.
Well, that's basically what happened on 4chan with Shia LaBeouf and his fucking "he will not divide us" project bullshit. Like, mostly NEETs on fucking 4chan just, like, got together and said, okay, we're gonna troll the shit out of this motherfucker. And they just, like, followed him around everywhere he tried to, like, relocate his fucking political activist project of "he will not divide us." They found it, and eventually got to the point where he hid it in some obscure location, what would be found out to be Tennessee, because the fucking 4chan NEETs use, like, fucking astronomy and the tree species and a whole bunch of shit, and the cloud patterns in the sky correlated with weather reports around the country to find that it was in some rural location of Tennessee, and someone went there, pulled down his fucking flag, and put up a fucking Trump hat in place of the flag, and then he gave up. And that was mostly NEETs.
Yeah, basically. That's the thing too. That's also something else that I want to mention. It's like that NEETs, right? Like, I feel like if NEETs got together, they would actually change the world. No joke. Like, I feel like if NEETs got together, like, and they stopped being so, like, apathetic, I feel like they would start to do something really good. And this kind of also ties into, like, get rid of your fear or whatever, the thing that I was talking about earlier. That when these people, when they stop living in, like, apathy and just general, like, malaise, like, I think, like, they're incredible, right? But they can't do, like, people are not self-made usually. Like, people, like you can't do this, like, by yourself. Like, I feel like you need, like, a good group of people to surround yourself with, and you need to, like, you can't do this all alone. And I feel like this is kind of a trap that I got into, like, when I was 18 or 19, is that, like, I thought that in order to, like, be the best person that I could be, or, like, to, like, be someone that is extremely, like, venerable, or, like, just to have, like, a modicum of respect, I felt like I had to do everything on my own. And that was based on that's a misconception. And it was sort of based on arrogance, right? It was sort of based on arrogance and, like, a mistrust of other people, right? Because my way of thinking was, like, okay, I can't trust other people to do the things the way that I would usually do it, with, like, the amount of attention to detail and, like, the amount of, like, technical things that, like, I could contribute toward doing this thing by myself. And, like, other people, I feel like they would mess it up and they wouldn't consider the things that I want to consider. And so that's why I must try to figure out how I can do basically almost everything. And that's also why, like, I don't want anyone else to be working with me, and I would prefer working alone, because I believe, like, I'm very capable and competent. And so it was just kind of, like, an unrealistic view of, like, how much I could get done, number one, right? It was an unrealistic view of that. And it was also just a general arrogance, because I believed that I could do these things if I could just read about it a little bit more, and if I could just hone these skills a little bit more, if I could just do these things. That's a bit of an arrogant way to think, right? Because you can't like, it is just better. It is just better to have someone else do it for you that is more qualified than you are. So like that's an admittance, right? That's an admittance of some kind of incompetence within that field, right? Within that area of expertise. You have to admit to yourself, and I guess I didn't really want to for some reason, right? That, oh, okay, you can't do this thing. Like you can't fucking, like it would just be a better thing to have someone else do it for you. And for me, I saw that as a sign of weakness. I'm like, no, that's like, no, I can easily do it. No, if I could just do this, like I could easily do it. Like I don't need someone else to do it for me. I'm basically, if I do that, I'm basically admitting that like I'm not capable of doing it myself. Of course I can do it myself. It's like, no, that's like the wrong way to think. Like, no, you shouldn't think like that. What you should instead think of is, okay, I'm not qualified to do this right now, meaning I don't have the skills necessary to complete this thing, and I don't have the knowledge required. I could easily get the knowledge if I wanted to. I could do this. I know I'm capable of doing this, but for the sake of efficiency and for the sake of getting things done, I'm going to delegate this to someone else, and I'm gonna have them figure out, and I'm gonna trust them. I also used to be really fucking paranoid back then, but yeah, I'm gonna trust them to do this thing, and now I'm gonna do what I'm good at, and then we're gonna get this done faster, and we're gonna get to our goals faster, right? You're looking out for like the best interest of yourself, and ironically enough, other people too. Like this helps yourself, and this also helps other people. And so that's sort of something that I learned, and I feel like a lot of NEETs have that. I feel like NEETs have this quality, and I think that if they learn that, I feel like most people, they learn the hard way. So like, I mean, I guess you could either take what I'm saying, you know, a fucking 20-year-old as like something that's actually like valuable and something that could help, or you could ignore it. You could be like, oh, what does this guy know? And then you could learn the hard way. But yeah, that's like something that I kind of like trap myself with. And like, I feel like if anyone is listening to me speaking about this, don't be a fucking know-it-all. Don't be fucking paranoid. Don't think that you're weak or whatever for not fucking knowing how to do something and admitting that you need other people. Like, don't do that. That's like bullshit. Like, you're trapping yourself. You're like selling yourself short. You're severely handicapping yourself. There you go.
There's like a definitional difference, I think, that like when I think about this, oh, you're not being nuanced enough. It's like, yeah, there'll be people that'll troll that too. What you're describing as like the ideal that what you define as a NEET should strive for, what you're actually describing is a form of autodidactly, where you just teach yourself something useful. Because a part of the definition of NEET is not an education.
Yeah,
but if you're
traditional
like
education, that's what I think of. Traditional education is what I think of, yeah.
That's what most people will think of too, but
yeah.
If you think of like doing everything that you're doing, and they actually do this and achieve something, I mean, at that point, it's not even NEETdom anymore. They're a fucking autodidact. They actually self-taught a marketable skill.
I feel like most NEETs are autodidacts, though. I feel like most NEETs are autodidacts.
Yeah.
Of course, you're gonna have the NEET.
No,
of course, you're gonna have NEETs that all they do is watch anime and like they have an interest in media, and all they do is consume media and literally nothing else, and like watch Sam Hyde, Perfect Guy Life, fucking podcasts or whatever, and they watch like this like other slop or whatever, right? Of course, you're gonna have people like that, but like,
well, that's what
this is what I see. I'm telling you.
Of when
yeah.
they use NEET as a pejorative, though. That's what
yeah, of
most
course.
people see in their mind when they use it as a pejorative.
Yeah, of course. But this is like from my personal experience. Like sometimes I'll be bored and I'll feel like I'm like. Usually this is something I do when I'm like waiting for something, or like something I'll do like on my downtime. Like I'll scroll on my phone. I'll go to 4chan, and like listen. Okay. Well, before I go, I'll make sure no one is watching me, okay? I would rather be caught watching porn than being on 4chan. But I'll go there, and then, like, I'll go to R9K, or I'll go to Soch, or I'll go to, like, these, like, weird boards, because I'm, like, curious, and, like, I want to kill time, and I want to be entertained. And, like, I'll, like, look at some of these posts, and people will be, like, oh, yeah, like, in these, like, introduction boards, or not boards, these introduction threads, they'll be like, oh, yeah, I am 30 years old, I'm a NEET, I've been studying philosophy for like 2 years on my own, and I'm just helping my parents around the house, and like usually these are the posts that I'll see, and then there's like the other side where like the other posts are like, you know, have all these interests and all these things, and like I just like I'm just like I just want to keep learning about it, and like I'm like a NEET, and like all I do is sit at home and I just read, and like that's all I do, and like those are the kinds of posts that I see. Right now it could be some motherfucker out there lying, and like actually all they do is consume media, and all they do is watch anime or whatever. Okay, and like listen, nothing against you if you watch anime. Okay, I'm gonna bring about the anime revolution fucking world. I'm gonna bring about anime world soon, but listen, that's all these people do. Okay, all these people do, they just watch anime. They're no different. And mark my words, someone clip this. Okay, I'm gonna put this on YouTube Shorts. Someone clip this. If all you do is watch anime and play video games and jerk off, if that's all you do, and you're like one of like these NEET, if you claim to be like a NEET 4chan type person, right? You're no different than a soy jack who all they do is collect Funko Pops, play video games, and consume Marvel. You are no different than that person who goes on Reddit. You are literally no different. This is the same side. These are two different sides of the same coin. You are no different than that person, and there's no reason why you should ever feel superior to that person, ever.
Well, the only thing they are superior in is like more consistent anti-Semitism.
Oh, there you go.
That's one thing they do have superior to like the Reddit leftist Funko Pop collector, the soy face, the stereotypical soy face. Because the stereotypical soy face is only anti-Semitic when something Gaza oppressed people, something Israel. The freaking 4chan right-wing troll motherfucker is like universally anti-Semitic across the board at all times. So that is the marked difference.
Wait until they find out. Wait until they find out that the founder of 4chan, Mr. fucking Poole over here, Mr. fucking, what's his name? Christopher Poole or whatever, right? The founder of 4chan. Wait until they find out that he's actually Jewish.
Thought you could get away with all that anti-Semitism, guy.
Wait until they find out that the founder of 4chan actually is colluding with Mark Zuckerberg and was actually good friends with him while he was making 4chan. So think about it.
Well, at least
think about it like this. Think about it like this. Anime is the tool of the electric Jew. Okay. Japanese people are just.
Enough, I've seen the 4chan meme. Like, it's a Japanese Jew with a massive fucking anime waifu red pill, and he's just like, good guy.
But yeah, it's no different, okay? It's no different.
I don't think this is gonna make it on YouTube. You ever put this on Rumble? You better bitch shoot this motherfucker, because they're gonna make it on YouTube.
I don't know. I'll lock this down. I'll put it as a sacred thing, or maybe not. Maybe I'll be risky with it.
I mean, I didn't say the K word, so I mean, I'm not saying anything that 4chaners or the most ardent critics of the 4chaners would already agree with. So I'm not. This time I did a anti-Semitic Jew impression, I guess. Oy vey.